Hi, True Nature Medicine Tribe. How are you all doing today? For those of you that are in South Africa, we had a holiday yesterday so that we could all go to the polls and vote. And I was really aware of just how much suppressed anger there was in the people that were queuing to cast their votes for 2, sometimes 3 hours. And also, wow, afterwards, going to the store in my privileged life, being able to go to the store and buy something beautiful for dinner and feed my family, and speaking to the girl that was checking out my groceries and asking her if she'd voted, and how so much sadness came across her when I asked her, and she told me that the company that she worked for, and I'll name them because it's supposedly an ethical company that purports to fair trade and ethical farming and everything else. And Woolworths, I'm calling you out because you didn't give your staff time off yesterday to actually go and vote. And she was saying that even if she could go vote after she'd knocked off at 5 o'clock and she'd worked a 12-hour shift, she had children that she'd had to pay a sitter to look after so that she could go to work and earn money and feed her family. And that it would take her another 2 hours to get home to pick up her children, and then by then the voting would have been over. So she didn't even get an opportunity to cast her vote, to actually vote for a better future for her children, where she could have running water and a better quality of life and a roof over her head and basic essentials like electricity. And I got really pissed off when I heard that. And I also noticed how many people standing in line looked like they were just going through the motions, that they felt that even though they were there, and there was this underlying current that there was little use in actually voting to change it. And today I see in some of the provinces that it was a total whitewash, and there's a lot of this going back into the trauma of wanting a better future, but there's an apathy of not being able to express their anger through their grief, that their voices weren't being heard. It was very interesting to me. And the reason I want to talk about anger again is because it's pretty much everywhere in my society. We see it in road rage, we see it in taxi violence. It's just everywhere, and people are angry, and rightly so, at the non-delivery of essential basic services. And I'm also seeing a lot of memes and quotes and sayings on social media where people are saying, you know, just send love and light to this, and gratitude and empathy, and that everything's just going to be okay. And I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. I love the power of gratitude, and I'm so grateful every day that I get up and I have a beautiful home and I have a car. I'm grateful for my cats that come and cuddle. There's one right here playing right here in the garden. I'm grateful for everything I have. My child's going to a school, that she's getting a good education. We're all healthy. There's so much to be grateful for. But if we don't learn how to be with our anger and process it and metabolize it and work with it, we get sick. And it's one of the hardest things for people in the Western world, people that are well-meaning and good, to understand. Why would I want to feel angry? And why would I want to express it and work with it? So I'm gonna quote a passage from one of my heroes, Gabor Maté, when the body says no. And he's one of my heroes in the medical world. And at the end of the book, he explains the 7 A's of healing. And the third A is anger. And he quotes Woody Allen that I never get angry, I grow a tumor instead. And I love that quote because those of you who know me and know a little bit of my story and my journey into healing of my own trauma and my own dark night of the soul know that I got really sick 15 years ago. I was diagnosed and labeled as bipolar after I tried to commit suicide. And in the process of that time of my life, further investigation, I was lucky to have some really good people supporting me, that I had 2 brain tumors, one as big as a tennis ball, that were putting pressure on the back of my brain stem, where it didn't matter what work I'd done, I was going to feel depressed and hopeless. And it really interests me that when I came across Gabor Maté's work later on in how to heal from this trauma, to actually acknowledge how brilliant I was in my ability to suppress anger, even though I didn't even remember what I was angry about, because I had a great life on the outside. I had wealth, I had a beautiful life, I had beautiful things, and my life was great. I was living a really, really good life, and yet there was some part of me, and I knew deep down inside I was dying to get out of the life that I was in. I was feeling trapped in my business. I was feeling angry at the things my partner was doing. I was married to a narcissist, which was interesting in itself, but I didn't know what to do with all that anger. So brilliant me, instead of expressing anger in a healthy way, I created not 1 brain tumor, but 2. So I'd love for you to just take a breath. I know this is big stuff, because we can't heal what we don't feel. It's really, really difficult to move forward and create a meaningful life if we're not acknowledging the parts of us that are angry, that didn't feel like they had a voice, or didn't feel seen or heard, or we were ridiculed or minimized or made fun of. And I'm sure you can relate to some of that in your own life. So I invite you to just tap into your body right now. Oh, excuse me. Where are you holding anger and tension in your body? And I want you to tense into that. If any of you have done my Out of the Blue healing masterclass, where we heal, you'll know there's an exercise in there of tense and release. Oh, oh, excuse me. Yeah, there's a little suppression. But yeah, we're taught to suppress. We're taught to have a stiff upper lip and not express. And I want you to just notice that tension in your body. And now intensify it. Make it bigger until you just can't stand it anymore. Good. And now go more if you can. Make that tension even bigger and bigger and bigger until you feel like you just can't hold it anymore. And then okay, I seem to be back. Yeah, so Gabor Maté goes on to say that we've seen the truth of the droll remark in numerous studies of cancer patients. And we've also seen that the repression of anger is a major risk factor for disease, because it increases physiological stress on the organism. So the repression of anger, and here's what I want you to think of, and this is probably one of the best ways to describe it. Think about if you live in Africa like I did, the hippo or the lion, and you're in a little boat on a river, or you're in a national park. I remember seeing a hippo when we were in a tiny little boat, and you can't really see where the hippos are because they're walking on the bottom. But when the mommy bear or the mama hippo gets angry because you've got between her and her young, she is going to go into a flight position, and she's going to say, back off, because you're in her space and you're coming between her and her young, and it doesn't feel good for her. I mean, face it, that's her job, to mount up the survival response as a mother to keep her young. To not do that, something would be, I've got a crazy internet again, but something would be really, really off. And as a mammal, she understands that it's her job to protect her young, but because she's also not human with a very advanced neocortex, there's nothing that says I probably shouldn't be taking this fight response, and I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or I don't want to be seen as this ugly, grimacing, scary lion or a scary hippo. And you know, it's just like she's responding in her true nature to protect her young, and she works with her physiology to respond to the threat. us as humans, I mean, we're mammals, but we have got the same biological emotions as other mammals. Joy, sadness, shame, blame, disgust, fear, anger, all of these emotions. And we need to be able to experience and emit and process all these emotions. So the reasons why I'm talking about this right now is I see a lot of people in my practice. Many of them have chronic conditions like fibromyalgia, depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, digestive problems, just trouble sleeping. They don't have energy. They can't move forward in their lives. They're feeling stuck. It's a long list. And two things either happen when I start to question them about emotions, or I try to get to the root cause of the physiology, and I'm seeing tightness in the jaw or tightness in their chest. All these sort of things, you know, where they're having trouble setting boundaries and limits. Oh, excuse me. Or they're having relationship issues with their children or their spouse. And it's two things. So either they never saw their parents in a healthy way fighting. So either there was no fight, no emotions, you know, not even any showing of expression, absolutely nothing, just complete flatline, complete disassociation. And that's one very common thing that occurs in our oh, excuse me, in our society. And I go into a lot more depth in this when I go through how to create secure attachment as the healthy adult for your child parts, and integrate what your attachment style is, where you're functioning from ambivalence or avoidance or a disassociated style. So I invite you to check out some of the programs and the offerings that I have in my store, or get hold of me. Book a clarity breakthrough session to healing from all this suppressed emotion that's causing creating havoc in your life, disrupting your life. All you have to do is go onto my website, Access Your True Nature, and you'll see a link there for a complimentary breakthrough session where we can see where you're at, where you are now, what's stopping you, some of these pattern repeats that you keep going into no matter what you do, that's stopping you from having success or relationship or money in your life, and really get you to a place where you can integrate in a healthy way through lifestyle medicine. So, you know, if you don't recognize the flat line, perhaps in your family, getting back to anger and what we were talking about in your family lineage, you know, this occurs in our society, in this chaotic craziness that we're living in that's supposedly civilized. But the other side of the spectrum, the flip side of this, is perhaps you had a family that don't know how to work with and deal with their anger and aggression in a healthy way, and often that's going to come out in like extreme violence or rage or horrible toxic abuse, whether it's physical or emotional. But they see, I don't know, like anger as this highly threatening, scaring place where they don't want to admit any of it because they don't want to parent like their mother or father because it was just too painful or traumatic. So what often occurs is these people, these adults that just want to heal, they're comfortable tapping into healthy anger and healthy aggression, right? The animal within our body that wants to express and move this. It's our life force. And another guy that I love a lot, Peter Levine, and I've worked with him in various ways over the years, but he says that when we suppress or push anger down, it stunts and limits our life force energy. It literally shuts us down. And over time, if we keep doing this, it eventually leads to depression and anxiety and other forms of physiological non-specific disease. Like that passage that Gabor Maté talks about, where disease is the physiological response where things start to slow down, we shut down, our immune system gets compromised, and we can't get nutrients into our body or take away waste products. And this is where we see a lot of avoidant style attachment, which just isn't healthy. You know, it makes us sick to the core. So if you go back to my example of the hippo that is snorting and she's telling you to back off, if she didn't have the capacity to defend her young, she'd go into that freeze state where she'd just shut down. Her nervous system would shut down. She'd probably get sick and die, and her young would die because she wasn't there to bring them up and feed them and nurture them, because she couldn't come down in a healthy way or express defensive mechanisms in a healthy way. And I mean, how much do we see that in our communities and in our families and in our cultures? And this is why we get chronic conditions showing up, and why we're seeing more and more people, or I'm certainly seeing more people in my practice, really struggling with non-specific diseases like fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, immune dysfunction, where their bodies are literally attacking themselves because there's no other way to get out of it. And the good news is we can change this. You know, I called my company Access Your True Nature because I really recognize how much we've separated from living in our true nature, in the wildness, in the animal, the instinctual position of a healthy fight, flight, freeze response in our nervous system. And this is why we're seeing wars, and we're seeing mass shootings, and we're seeing an epidemic of child abuse and human trafficking, and just horrendous disassociation from empathy, from the heart, from kindness, from integrity. And I just believe that a lot of this has to do with that we're not teaching our communities, we're not teaching our children how to express anger in a healthy way, and how to come off this high arousal state where we're on all the time in a natural, healthy way. You know, we're taught that it's not okay to be angry, that we have to hold our emotions in, and we're not allowed to speak our truth. And, you know, things like big boys don't cry, and you have to keep a stiff upper lip, and, you know, bite your tongue. And this is what's making us sick. Hello, kitty. And yeah, you know, while we can maintain it for a while, you know, it builds and it builds and it builds, and we all know it. You know, those times where someone pushes you and pushes you and pushes you, and then all of a sudden the slightest thing sets you off, and there's just you know, explosive stuff, and people get hurt. Just like that hippo example that I gave you, you get in the way of a baby and its mother, someone might get hurt. You know, that's the law of nature, the law of the beast, so to speak. And I know it's not comfortable to speak about this stuff. Hi, Ann Jonah. You know, just the suicide bombers that we're seeing more and more, and people that are just going in, these mass shootings where people are going in and just mowing people down in schools, and the Paris shootings that we've just seen. Those people are not in their right mind. They do not have a healthy parasympathetic nervous system. They've lost the connection of what it means to be human, to be connected in the heart of social engagement, of support, of love, of community. And they're mostly either in a freeze state where they've just completely shut down, they've disassociated, they don't even know the difference between right or wrong anymore, or they're in complete hyperarousal. They're not in their right mind, and so they act out these violent hate crimes because they don't know how to express and move this anger out of their systems. Chances are there was a time in their life where something was done that was very, very wrong. Something was done to them where they were abused, or they weren't allowed to express, or they didn't feel safe or nurtured, and somewhere down the line they crack, or they have to get it out. So they either explode or they implode. They end up with a severe health problem. So bottom line, anger is essential to our true nature. We actually need to notice it. We need to feel it. We need to know what to do with it. And the trouble is that we've suppressed from a very, very young age as children to not feel our anger because we're told it's wrong or it's bad. And it's not, okay? I really want you to get that. And sorry, parents, the reason why we uncomfortable perhaps with our kids having a temper tantrum is because we weren't given a safe place to express our emotions. And we need to break the cycle. And if we don't stop the pattern, if we don't stop the cycle of abuse, we're going to just keep exacerbating it and keep producing a society where we're repressed. And the good thing is I'm starting to see clients in their 30s, their 40s, some in the 20s who really are committed to stop the cycle of abuse, the generational trauma that's embedded literally in their genetics, in their DNA, in their nervous system. And they want to stop it because they don't want to do it anymore. And they're seeing the impact on the bigger picture. And I'm excited about that too, because I'm seeing more and more people showing up in my clinic recognizing that a lot of fertility issues, their endometriosis, their menstrual cramps, the fact that they're not able to conceive children naturally is somewhere locked up in generational trauma, in their childhood experiences, in places in their body, right, in their urinogenital system that are on their ancestral line, where they've bought into this belief that it's the world's not a safe enough place to have children, or they don't want to have children because they don't want to parent like their parents because it was too traumatic, or it was hurtful and it was traumatic for them. So even though their parents did the best that they could, there's still unresolved trauma in their childhood experiences. And through my work, we get to heal, we get to bring the unconscious into the light and resolve this in a very gentle way, so they no longer have to buy the story and create problems in their lives, in their reproductive systems, or in some other part of their body, or in their relationships. So, you know, if you're listening to this and you're saying, oh, you know, I mean, I used to say, I can't cry. I never get angry. I don't get angry. I want to tell you, please get over it now so that you don't have to create a brain trauma or something life-threatening. And I'll post some more sound bites that I've done on how you can start to express anger in a healthy way, and some of the physiology of our fight, flight, freeze response, and how you can support your liver, support your gallbladder. The liver's the general. It gives the directions to your other organs, endocrines, and body parts to assimilate and process your daily life experience, to help you to digest it, how to move you forward towards creating your best life. And I'll post some of those below. But if you have any questions or comments on anger, if you wanted to know how you can get that extra support, get on one of those clarity breakthrough sessions with me. I have a couple more open for August. If you're looking at this on Facebook, if you're looking at this on my YouTube channel, let me know what's coming up for you and where you are ready to really step into your heart space and take inspired action. Take back, reclaim your life, having the courage to express your anger, to cry, to express your truth from your heart space. And I would be honored to help you. You know, at the end of the day, our biology, if we're in fight flight, you can put on as much love and light and peace and joy and gratitude and all the stuff that comes with it into your system. But if you still have unresolved anger and aggression that never got out, it doesn't matter how much you meditate. You're going to have a tight jaw. You're going to have trouble with anxiety. You're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to get sick later on in your life. I highly recommend Gabor Maté's book. I'll post a link to that below. But I want you to just know that you're an animal human being. You have these natural impulses and you need to express it. And if you were wronged or harmed emotionally or verbally and you've held it back, it's not good. That stuff's still sitting in your nervous system. Time does not heal, it conceals. So I'll leave it at that. As you can see, I'm really passionate about this topic. It's not taught, and I think we really need to remember, we need to relearn. And if you're ready to do that, if you're working with other people in your practices, ask me some questions. Get on my website, accessyourtruenature.com. Sign up to my newsletter, take the ACE test, have a look at some of the courses I have there, take the 5-element personality quiz so that you can start to recognize what your triggers are and work with them as gifts to move you towards what you want. I am by nature full of love and gratitude for you. And I really, I'm on a mission to spread the importance of working with this deeper, darker side of the fragmented human psyche. That's great separation sickness, and come back to our heart. And it's not always light. It's not comfortable. But if this message resonated with you, I'd love it if you share it with your friends or family. Post it on your social media platforms so that other people can access their true nature and live happy, healthy, and free. I thank you for being part of my community. I thank you for jumping on these spontaneous Facebook Lives that I do. I'm a little early today because I have a client in a couple of minutes. But I wanted to just say I'm here. I see you. I honor where you are in your journey. You're not alone. Express your anger in a healthy way. Know that you're safe. Know that you're supported. You don't have to do this on your own. And above all, know that your voice matters. And through your stories, by sharing your experiences, you get to inspire other people to go out and do their work and claim that as their own. So thank you. Monsef, great to see you here. Hi, Robin. Yeah, thank you so much. I adore you. I love you. If some of you don't know Monsef, he has an incredible platform called youawakening.com. Check him out. He brings incredible speakers. I've had the privilege of being able to share some of my work with trauma, with animal communications on his summit. He is a beautiful soul with a big, generous heart. I salute you. I love you, Monsef. Your work is so important, and I just so appreciate you getting this out on a global scale for people to know they're not alone, that they can change this. So thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day. Tap into faith and love and all those good things, but know that we need to get to the root cause of our trauma. And if you're healers, I see a lot of you here, Robin and Jana, until we do this deep work at the level of healing our own nervous systems, we're not able to get results that hold for our clients. And this is why it's so important that we have community, that we feel safe, that we feel that we can be accountable, and that others see us and can hold us in the fire when we can't do that for ourselves. Because until we heal ourselves, we can't get those lasting results, so that other people don't have to keep going into this pattern of abuse and repeating the same thing over and over again, because we get it and we're the experts, right? We have our PhDs of shame and judgment and illness. Okay, so I'm really going to stop now. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Tell me what you'd like to speak about, because without you being part of this, it would be a lonely place. And my currency is connection. So let's bring this stuff out into the dark, because the more of us that are speaking about this, the more of us that are bringing our work into the world, the greater the change that we're going to make on a global scale. Love you guys. Take care. Mwah.